as you know, the coronavirus has been wreaking havoc in the US, not only on the health systems, but also on the economy. There's just on Friday, it was reported that there was 3.3 million that just signed up for unemployment just in the previous week. So that's a staggering number. It's the highest since the Great Depression. So yeah, pretty significant fallout as a result of the coronavirus and all of these kind of stay home orders today. I'm going to be breaking up the video into bite-sized pieces, but I'll also record it in full. So if you want to listen through all the pieces, you can definitely do that, or you can hone in for your convenience on the ones that are going to be most relevant to your situation. But why was the CARES Act passed? So I mentioned the economy, but what it makes me think of visually is, if you've ever seen Spider-Man, one of the common things that happens is he has two things going on at the same time. There's a train that's about to run off a bridge, and so what he does, he goes, saves it, shoots it with the spider web, and he kind of suspends it. That's what the CARES Act is trying to do. So the government stepped in, and obviously it's not fixing everything immediately, but what it did do is it stopped the U.S. economy from just kind of free falling. And right now we're kind of being suspended with the CARES Act and some of these benefits that have been put forward. Obviously, there's still other things going on. So the Green Goblin's flying around. He's the one that caused that train. He kind of set that trap for Spider-Man to have to deal with. But the Green Goblin's still out there wreaking havoc. And basically that's the equivalent of what the coronavirus is. So that hasn't been solved. So with that, we can dive into the financial topic. So there's really three big pieces. So it's going to be whether or not you're going to get a check, what unemployment would look like if you ended up needing to use that, and then also student loan impact and some of the features there. So again, you can watch these separately. I do want to encourage you to make sure you're following or subscribing, whether it's on social media or my email newsletter, because these things are subject to change. Speaking of the student loan aspect, that has already changed a few times just in the last few weeks. And so you want to stay up to date on this, make sure that nothing's changed or tweaked as we move along. And then also could be the potential for new information to be coming out. So the last main piece of the CARES Act that I want to share with you today is the student loan aspect. It's pretty unique. Between now and September 30th, 2020, you're actually not going to be paying any interest. So no interest is going to accrue on your federal student loans. If you have private student loans, none of what I'm about to talk about applies to those. And sometimes you have both. Sometimes you have your federal student loans and your private student loans. That, again, private student loans don't fall under this, but anyone that has those federal student loans, this does apply to. So you're not going to be paying any interest. No interest is going to be accruing between now and September 30th of 2020. And then another awesome feature is the forbearance aspects. Basically what you can do is there's a special forbearance now that you can go in and request, and that will allow you to skip payments between now and September 30th, 2020 without any penalty, without any interest. And really it's essentially hitting the pause button with no ill effects, no downside at all. Initially, when they announced this, it was before the CARES Act actually was in place, and it wasn't until September 30th. They only gave you a 60-day window. So I was telling clients that 60 days, it might be worth it to kind of put this in a savings, pad your emergency savings over the next 2 months that you get to skip. But obviously, you have to act and just request the forbearance. And so it's not necessarily fun to go in, request something for a 2-month time period, and then go and turn it back on, which is what you had to do by the time September 30th rolls around. And so I wasn't strongly encouraging my clients, but I was saying, yeah, this is probably a good opportunity to build up your emergency savings just in case anything happens employment-wise over the coming months. Now that this has been stretched so far to well over 60 days, it makes a lot more sense because you're going to be able to pad your emergency savings quite a bit. And that's what I'm recommending now, that, yep, it's worth the little bit of hassle to go request it, and then once September 30th rolls around, go in and reestablish your automatic payments, because why not? There's no downside to it. If you're wondering, like, why wouldn't I just make the payments? Because if you did make the payments, it actually does help you a little bit faster, but it doesn't really matter if you make the payments every single month or if you just let this sit in a savings account. So how much you'd be paying towards this, just put in a savings account just in case. And by the time September 30th rolls around, you can actually just apply all those payments you would have anyways September 30th, and it would have the same effect of you just making those payments every month. So it gives you the flexibility of waiting and seeing how things occur. and then you could just pay it all in full at that point, all those monthly savings that have built up. And no harm, no foul. You still pay it off a little bit faster than you would have otherwise, because you're making a principal payment at that point, and then you're turning on your normal payments to make the normal principal and interest payments. So I know there's a lot of interesting things to be coming up in the future, so definitely stay tuned. I'm gonna try to always stress myself to make sure I'm making content that is easily accessible and available to anyone, even if you're not a client, because I truly believe that financial confidence is a way to just kind of help you live a better life. And so reach out anytime if you think I could add additional value for you.